meeting you. This is Sureshbabu.
Hi, Mr. Sureshbabu. Hi, Divyasree.
Hi, sir.
My
Hi, madam.
wife
How are
also
you?
is there.
Good, sir.
Great. Both of you could join us. First of all, a huge round of congratulations to Divyasree for her phenomenal achievement. Not
Thank
that
you, sir.
she ever doubted it or we ever doubted it. Everyone believed this could happen, and this has happened. And many congratulations to you. We are super proud of you, Divyasree.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
How does it feel? You must be fielding tens of hundreds of calls now since yesterday.
Yeah, yes, sir. Feels nice. Something that has come from all that hard work. So I think I'm happy.
Fantastic. And how about the parents?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was exciting. It's a long journey, right? So a lot of challenges, and thank you for the support great support from KP and the teachers and well-wishers. It's really amazing journey, actually. So
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So I want to know so much today. So what we're going to do is we're anyways going to set up a separate discussion in the office where, we want students to learn from Divyasree so much, and from the parents as well, ideally, because, a large part of the success of the child goes into how you've parented the child, how you've groomed her over the years, and not just in the last 2 years, but since she was a kid. And there's so many parents who would want to hear from you as well. I'll begin with Divyasree first of all. I want to ask her a few questions because there's so many students who want to hear from her. She's such an inspiration to students across the Gulf region because, until a few years back, a lot of parents and students believe that Gulf students cannot crack these highly competitive entrance exams with these kind of ranks. And it's been happening over the last few years. So it's a phenomenal achievement, and kids want to get inspired by students like Divyasree who achieve such phenomenal success. Divyasree, your success is even more special because your success has come during possibly the most difficult time humanity has faced since the day you were born, at least.
Yes,
right?
sir.
This came during COVID.
Absolutely.
Everything turned upside down. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yes, sir.
and what we saw and what the world over people saw is that students' performance has actually gone down during COVID tremendously, right? I want to know your experience. How did COVID impact your preparation? How did you cope up? How did you keep yourself balanced?
Yes, sir. So according to me, I think the COVID pandemic was one of the best things that could have happened to my life, because I think that was one of the biggest advantages in my preparation. Because I think I made the most out of it, considering that we had online school and online classes. So, for example, if my school would start at 7:30 in the morning, I would be studying till 7 o'clock, and quickly I would go take a shower, and I would be on my seat at 7:29. So I was able to make the most out of my time because of the pandemic. I could avoid all the travel that was involved in going to school or to coaching classes. And yeah, so I didn't really have to go and meet a lot of people because of the lockdown, and also I had a lot of time to myself. I was not a very outgoing person. So I was able to go on with it, and I think I had a lot of time to myself. So I think it was a very big advantage for me rather than a disadvantage. So I think it was one of the biggest strengths for me to score whatever I've scored. I think the COVID pandemic played a good role.
And this thread runs common, Divyasree. This is so inspiring, and this thread runs common across so many toppers that I speak with in the last year or two. Everyone who has performed well are the people who actually took advantage of the COVID situation. A lot of us did not. A lot of us felt, oh, this is the worst thing that could have happened. My school has stopped, my classes have stopped, everything stopped. I'll wait and watch. I'll start studying when things, come back to normal, etc. But the ones who emerged winners are the ones who adapted to the situation very quickly and kept their eyes on the prize. That ultimately it is your college, it's your admissions. It does not matter whether there's COVID or not. You just made the best out of the given situation, right? And that sets you apart. and that shows up in the results as well. Great,
Yes, sir.
great. Now, your achievement is also special. You've not only done well at NEET, you are the overall NEET topper from the UAE for 2022. Not only that, you've done exceptionally well at board examinations also. You are the school topper for DPS Sharjah. You've scored 98.2% in your CBSE grade 12 exams. That is superb, right? A lot of students want to hear your views on that, because what happens is many students in the Gulf tend to believe that you can either prepare for board exams or you can prepare for NEET or JEE kind of exams. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, sir. So I think one of the reasons I was able to do well in both is because I integrated my preparation for board and NEET. So I think the best approach that we have to follow is that we have to give a lot of focus to our NEET exam or any other entrance that we're preparing for over the board exam. Because automatically when you prepare for an entrance, you get prepared for board in a way that you wouldn't even realize that you're actually prepared. So in my case, I gave, and we had board 1 and board 2, we had the term exams. I gave most of my effort towards my NEET preparation, and indirectly, automatically, I was able to do well in my boards. So I didn't have, for example, in my physics exam, I actually studied the entire syllabus. I did not look at what CBSE had omitted or anything like that. So I just ensured that I covered the entire syllabus, including the NEET point of view syllabus, even when my board exam was going on, even in the 2 days that we were given a holiday for preparing for our boards. So I did not separately prepare for my board exams. But if you do the other way, as in if you if you think that you'll be preparing for boards and that will help you in your entrance, I think that's where you can actually mess things up. In my case, I did it the other way. I prepared a lot for my entrance, and that helped me to do well in my boards. So I think that is a good approach that most people have to follow.
That is so important, right? I mean, as long as you're preparing for your entrance examinations while keeping your concepts strong, you don't really have to do any special board preparation. And this happens every year. We see students who perform well at entrance examinations do automatically well at board exams. And that is a message that needs to be heard by the entire student community who seems always so scared about board exams. And they tend to ignore their entrances, whereas their college admissions are actually dependent upon entrance exams. So I want this message to go out from Divyasree. Guys, please hear this, that you as long as you're preparing sincerely towards your entrance examinations while keeping your concepts right, board exams are going to be a cakewalk. Right?
Yes, sir, because even my parents were actually very open with me to score anything above 90, and I was completely fine to get probably 80% in math and all. But because I was actually really focused on NEET preparation, and I did like simultaneously work on my extra subjects, that's math and English, I was actually able to do it way beyond my expectations. So I did not take boards as like a big thing. I did not like consider that it was a big milestone in my life. I think that itself helped me to do well in my board exams.
What you say is so important. It's about focus. It's about what is your goal. If you know your goal is to get into a top college, you should not be worried so much about your board exam. So today you have 98.2%. It's a huge validation for your hard work, intelligence. But if you had scored 90% or even 85%, it would not even have made a 1% difference. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, your college admission, your medical college admission only depends upon your NEET score. And that speaks about the focus. And I'm glad that your parents agreed with that. So many times parents cannot accept the fact that, oh, my child is not preparing for boards. And that's definitely congratulations to your parents for supporting you in your view on this and letting you prepare for NEET as a first goal. And then everything else fell into place by itself. Now, let me come back to somewhat go back a little bit 2 years back with you. When you start grade 11, yeah, it's a very crucial juncture, 10th to 11th, huge difference, etc. So many students in the Gulf especially tend to believe that, oh, you know what, Mama, 10th was boards, 12th is going to be boards, 11th, let me chill. Let me take it easy. This is not my board class. What do you have to say about the importance of grade 11, and can students afford to take it easy?
Yes, I think Even when I completed grade 10, I was exhausted because even in 10th, it was like a huge thing. One of the big, we would, at that particular point of time, that would almost be like that's the most important thing in our life. And yeah, I did complete grade 10 with 98.4 percentage. But the thing was that I didn't realize that actually 10th grade is not something that's a very important part in our life. So one thing that I would like to tell to everybody is that do not think that you're doing something supernatural by preparing for a grade 10 board exams. It's something that's very, very natural. You're supposed to think that it's just another grade as grade 11 or your grade 9. So you're supposed to give a lot of importance to your grade 11 as much as you do for your 10th or your 12th, even though there is no board exam involved in it. And to be very specific, grade 9 and grade 11 are one of the most fundamental grades of the entire schooling, because that's when most of your concepts get built, and very, very conceptual things actually come in your 11th and not in your grade 12. Even in terms of subjects like physics, your building block of your entire subject is actually formed in your grade 11. So I think that people should understand the importance of 11th grade, especially in the first 6 months of 11th, because when you actually go cross through the first 6 months, it's something that's not very difficult, especially in subjects like physics. The first 6 months are actually the most crucial, where all the conceptual things come in, and that forms your basis for the entire year. So I think that that's a mistake that most people do. I myself was almost going to fall into the trap, and then I realized it before it became too late, and I spent a lot of time to rectify whatever mistake I made in 11th throughout the grade 12. So I think I gave a lot of importance to 11th. That's what clearly made a difference in my preparation and my score in the end.
Absolutely. 11th grade is so critical, right? I mean, if we do not start 11th on a strong note, if we chill in grade 11th, it's so hard to cope up, because 11th is almost what, 7-8 times more challenging, academically challenging as compared to grade 10. So what happens is, if we do not have a strong start, slowly it just starts going all downhill, and it just becomes almost impossible to cover up what you've lost, right? So
Yes, sir.
fantastic that you worked out. What about summer and winter vacations? Were you working hard during summer and winter vacations also? Did you have a study schedule, etc.? Because it's so easy to lose track of studies because there is no school, things are a bit relaxed, and in Gulf here it gets so hot and it's all air conditioned environment, and you just want to sort of lie down and sleep. How was your experience during summer vacations and winter
Sir, I
vacations?
think in my case, summer and winter were one of the most favorite times, I would say, because that's when we don't have school. And so it's just coaching and self-study. So I think that was one of the most fruitful periods, because I was actually able to devote a lot of my time to self-study. And I was also able to cover all my weak points and all. And especially when you're in grade 12, that's when the summer and winter become extremely important, because that's when you can actually go through your 11th syllabus on a very deep basis. You'll obviously, I was someone who was doing my 11th throughout 12th, not just in the summer or winter. I was consistently revising grade 11 syllabus, but particularly in the summer vacation, you get, for example, in winter, we get, in summer, we get 2 months. So the first month I would devote it completely to grade 11 preparation. And in the second month, I would focus on the 12th grade. So that's how I managed to do it. And I think summer and winter are very, very important, because that's when you get most of your time for self-study. There is no school, there's no other distraction. And I would say, if like we were the COVID batch, so we didn't have to go to India and stuff. But if people can consider reducing their vacation time and going to India, or even if you go to India, you can carry your books along, I think it would make a difference, because we didn't have to travel for vacation or anything like that, luckily. But even in the future, I would say, like, try to limit your vacation, because I think these 2 years are really critical. You can always enjoy after you complete your 12th and your entrance. So that's what I have to say.
This is such important advice for anyone listening to this. This is so critical, guys. Your summer and winter vacation is amongst the most important months of preparation, and so many of us tend to ignore these months. We do not study hard during these months, and we tend to take it easy, whereas this is the real time when you have the full day to yourself. And if you have a proper schedule, if you plan it well, you can do 6 months worth of study in 2 months time. because you have more energy, you have more time, and you're more relaxed as well. You're at home, right? So many things fall into place. And for good students, this is really, really important to remember. Now, did you have a study schedule?
Sir, actually, in my case, I would say I was like almost the entire day I was studying. So in terms of time, there wasn't like I didn't have to devote a specific time for a long break or anything like that. But in terms of schedule, in terms of what we have to do for the particular day, I didn't have like a written schedule. Even though I tried multiple times to actually make a written schedule, I think it was not my cup of tea. So I was not able to get a written schedule and strictly follow by it. I was actually, it was not in terms of whether I had to study at a particular point of time or not. I was like just almost studying the entire day, especially towards the end. So in terms of study schedule, I tried making a few times, but I don't think it worked for me.
I
It
I
does
think
work for people, but for me, no.
I think the difference is the fact that it didn't work for you is because anyways you were studying the whole day. So
Yeah.
it's more important for people who find it hard to find the time to study. And the moment the time to study comes as per the schedule, they tend to postpone it. Okay, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. So it's for people who tend to procrastinate or do not devote enough time. But since you were putting in all the effort during this entire time, it wasn't even much relevant to you. I think what was relevant in terms of your scheduling would have been, and correct me if I'm wrong, that anyways you were putting in a good number of hours for your study. What was important from a scheduling perspective was what you're going to cover today, what is your target for the day, etc. And that is what you would have focused on, and I'm sure you would have a schedule around that. But correct me if I'm wrong and tell us what
Yes,
is right.
that was like I would sometimes I would get it done in a paper, but or like most of the times I would frame it in my mind itself that, for example, today I would be doing these things. I would have like a mental schedule, or sometimes I would just jot it down, but not like a proper timetable kind of a thing. As you said, like what I would do for today, what are the topics that I would cover on a particular day. That was how it worked.
Right. They must, like, you're a highly motivated student, and things when you're motivated, you're developing the confidence as you go along, etc. as well, and you're feeling more and more positive about your preparation. But I'm sure as a normal human being, did you have days when you felt demotivated, when you felt helpless, when you did not get good marks in a certain subject, in a certain test? How did you sort of pull yourself back up on those difficult days?
Yes, so that happens to all of us when we kind of self-doubt. I was someone who had like some points where I would actually have a doubt on myself and whether what I was doing was right. And sometimes where marks would fall and all. So the things that I would follow were obviously talking to parents is one of the most important things. My parents were very supportive, so I would just 15 to 30 minutes of talking with them and trying to get things right. So that was one of the things. And of course, like in KP, we had a lot of mentoring sessions with the teachers. And that really helped me when I was like down, when I felt that I had to put myself up again with all the teachers, physics, chemistry, and bio. So we would have regular mentoring sessions. We did have like 2 or 3 times. And I think that was another important thing that helped me to boost up and come back. So I think that was another important thing.
This is one of the most core elements of teaching at KP, that teaching is not just about teaching concepts, not just about teaching physics, chemistry, bio, etc., but most importantly about making sure that students are motivated, because we understand that we get demotivated and we are down and out at times. It's to make sure that we spring back up and we are brought back. So all the teachers, all the staff, I'm sure not only teachers, but even the staff members were constantly
Yeah,
motivating you as well.
especially sir was very, very supportive throughout this journey. Whenever we had a problem, whenever we had to get things done in terms of doubt clearing, mentoring, he was always very approachable. So I think that's another biggest strength of KP, that the approachability. I don't think any other institute or private tuition or even school can offer such a kind of approachability. So I think that's one of the most important things that helped me.
Yes, I mean we try our best to ensure that students who are who are able to take what we have to give. There's unlimited amount of support which can be given, and that is where we are always encouraging students at KP that please, there is no limit to how much you can take from KP as long as you are putting in the effort. we can support you wholeheartedly 24/7 at any point of day or night, and I'm sure you would have experienced the same during your preparation as well.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Um, Tell me about tests. Should student write tests? So many students run away from writing tests. Oh, I remember I would have handled a session with you guys as well, maybe pre-COVID, when I was talking about tests, etc., in the class, and I was saying, hey guys, you must write tests. And so many students say, but what should I do when I'm not prepared for the test? I don't feel confident about writing the test. Tell me a little bit more about tests and your approach to them.
Yes, sir. So I think giving tests is really, really important. It's sometimes even more important than actually studying, because even in my case, the most important, like there are different kinds of tests that we take, tests that are part syllabus, chapter wise, and the final mock test. But I think the most important among all of them is the mock test. Like I just want to speak a little bit about that. In my case, just 50 days before the NEET exam, I think that was towards the end of a board. In fact, even when board was actually going on, I sincerely and religiously did one mock test every day with the physical question paper and a physical OMR and the proper pen. And in fact, the paper is a 3 hour, 20 minutes paper. But my mom would make sure that I would complete the paper in 3 hours. If I wouldn't, and she would just snatch it away. At that time, it was kind of like I would feel worried and demotivated. But I think that's exactly what made a difference in the exam, because firstly, even though we're given the 20 minutes bonus, it's actually not a real bonus, because 10 minutes it would go and filling the details. We would not be given extra time, and there would be a lot of disturbances and commotion. So I think the 20 minutes is a proper buffer that we need to keep, and we need to time ourselves for 3 hours. Even though the exam is a 3 hour and 20 minutes exam, and giving even the mock test, sorry, the chapter wise tests and the part syllabus tests are also very important throughout grade 11 and 12. Even if a person feels that they are not really prepared for it, I think it's very important to give the part syllabus and the tests that are happening. Because firstly, when we give a test and then we go back to our books, for example, if I make a mistake in a particular question in a test, when I go back to my theory part and I come across the same line, then automatically it will strike me that I've made a mistake over here, and it will go and register in my long-term memory. So I think it's very important to give tests even when you're not prepared, because that will automatically help you to understand what your understanding is about a particular topic and how deep you need to dwell into that particular concept. And probably even without revising, you'll be good in a particular concept and you wouldn't need to waste a lot of time on it. So I think test attempting is as important as actually spending your time for self-study.
Absolutely. That is so brilliant. I always tell students that, and you summed it up, and let me just put it in some other words. There are two very important objectives of writing tests. Tests are not just about improving your subject knowledge, and improving your subject knowledge comes from two things. One, actually preparing for the test and writing the test, and also analyzing what are your weaknesses and how do you improve upon those weaknesses, right? And that is exactly what you said. That's point number one about improving your subject knowledge. And that's, you said, you write the test, you prepare, and then you analyze. The second thing which you said is also very important. The purpose of tests is not just to improve your subject knowledge, but to improve your test taking abilities. So when your mom was taking away your paper and forcing you to finish the paper in a reduced time, you were improving your speed, you were improving your accuracy, you were overall improving your test taking skills. And it's got nothing to do with your subject knowledge. Being in the test environment is a completely different skill altogether. There are so many students who can have great subject knowledge, but very poor test taking skills, right? So both these objectives have to be realized, and you've summarized this whole thing so well that you were doing each one of these things which are important from a test taking perspective.
Sir, in fact, one more thing that I would like to
Sure.
say is, another important point is, once we complete the test, like we shouldn't let it just hang. For example, if I get out of, let's say, 100, if I score 95, I shouldn't just leave it at that. So what I would do is actually Yashal suggested this, and my mom was also like kind of insisting that I should follow this. So I would keep like a book in which I would write down all my errors, and that was called my error book. Especially I particularly followed this towards the end when I was doing the full syllabus tests and all. So, and it's also very useful like when somebody is actually doing the part syllabus test as well. So I would write down my mistakes, and I would every morning when I would wake up, I would revise whatever mistake I had made in like all the tests that I had done. And so automatically at a point it became registered in my long-term memory that if this question comes, then I would not even have to think twice. I could automatically just select the answer. So I think making an error book is a very, it's time consuming, but I think it's really a very important thing.
Absolutely. That is such an important strategy. And I'm sure for any student listening to this, it can easily boost their ranks by at least 5 to 10,000 ranks if they can follow this one single advice about writing tests, analyzing, making an error book, understanding where your weaknesses are, and then correcting those weaknesses. Right? I mean, these exams, when you prepare for competitive examinations, it's not just about working on your strengths, but also identifying where your weaknesses are and then just plugging those gaps from time to time. And that's what you were doing with your error book as well. But that's such a systematic approach. So many times we do not see students doing it. We keep telling them, but as you know, a lot of times these things do not register, but we try our best to tell students. And I hope because it comes from you, because it comes from a fellow student and it's not coming from the teachers, it's not coming from their parents, it will register much better with the student community, and you're doing them a huge favor by talking about these things openly today. So in grades 9 to 12, these are such critical grades for preparation. And tell me candidly, what do you feel? Should students in these years go for private tuitions, or should they go to a coaching center such as Knowledge Planet for their preparation? And I be honest about it. I believe your younger sister is also coming to us. She's also very bright. You are also Sheikh Hamdan Award winner and Sharjah Excellence Award winner. Your sister is a twice Hamdan Award winner, I guess. Phenomenal family. And I want to speak to your parents after this as well, after one or two questions, because there's so much to learn from them for other parents. But tell me a little bit about this aspect. How should students prepare?
Yeah, I think I'll be very good at answering this because I myself have had experience with private tuitions and coaching institutes. That's KP. So when I was in, I think, 10th, I had made like a mistake. I think even my mom always says it is one of the biggest mistakes I made in my life. That is, I joined a private institute and not KP. I think it was a bad mistake because firstly, private tutors, there's no offense to them. It's not nothing wrong about that. But I think the most important thing is that firstly, it's completely board based. They're not going to train you for entrance. Secondly, sometimes private tutors, especially the tutors that I went to, were not even helping me on a board perspective. So, for example, in 10th grade, I went for math tuitions, and I think I didn't even go for math tuitions properly for 3 months because I was not at all happy. So I was mostly managing it by myself, and I was not finding any benefit out of it. So when automatically when I went to grade 11 and I knew my goal from the beginning, I decided no, there's no risk taking over here. We have to definitely go to a coaching institute, and of course KP is the best in the Gulf. So automatically I had to choose KP. So I think it was a very good decision, especially that I was preparing for entrance and even for board exams, because even when it comes to the CBSE boards of 10th and 12th, I think a coaching institute does you a lot more favor than a private tutor. Because firstly, private tutors are mostly teachers who teach at school, or just people who want to take it like a hobby and they do it. So it's not a very professional approach. So they do not have a set of books that they follow. In KP, we get our own material, and the worksheets are given, and it's a very systematic thing to go through. But in private tuitions, it's like they just make you do a particular set of questions. If you have any doubts, you solve it. So it's very normal, and it's not a very, and even when we compare results as well, it's very evident. Very few students who go to private tuition shine in boards and entrance. Entrance, it's very rare. In boards, quite a few students might shine. But I think regardless of whether it's entrance related or whether it's a board exam related preparation, definitely coaching institutes and particularly KP will stand out. So that goes without saying.
Now, let me go to a burning question for NEET aspirants. Typically, whenever I see NEET aspirants talking about preparation, they tend to focus primarily on bio, chemistry a little bit, and physics is completely ignored. Physics is the most difficult subject as per them, and they tend to totally ignore it. What is your advice? Can students succeed by only preparing for bio? And what is your advice to them on this?
Definitely not, sir, because although bio comprises 50% of your entire paper, that is out of 720 marks, 360 marks comes exactly from botany and zoology. But that doesn't mean you have to spend 50% of your time in your biology preparation. Actually, in my case, what I did was, interestingly, I spent very little time on bio in the initial stages, and most of my time went to physics and a moderate amount of time for chem. Actually, even that is a wrong approach. According to me, it's best to give equal amount of time to all three subjects. And in any case, if a student feels that they are weak in, for example, chemistry, then they should probably spend more time for chemistry, just a little more, so that you can actually strengthen what you're exactly weak at. There's no point in running away from, for example, physics because you find physics difficult. In my case, I think chemistry was one of the most difficult subjects for me. So I had to spend a little more time on chemistry, but that didn't mean that I would completely neglect bio and physics. At the same time, I would not, as you said, that people would think that because bio comprises half of the total marks, that they should spend their entire time for bio. Another reason is because bio questions, obviously, from the past trends come exactly from the NCERT textbook. So the only two things that you have to do is completely study your NCERT multiple times and solve as many questions as possible. There's nothing
MCQ
beyond that.
question.
Exactly. And solving MCQs is really very important for all the three. But particularly when I'm speaking about bio, there are only two things that you need to follow. So there is no need to break your head on that. And when it comes to physics and chem, it's both of them are very conceptual subjects that you really need to understand in. There's more to remember in bio, but there's a lot to understand, particularly in physics. So unless you actually take time to sit and get your concepts right, that's a very important thing. So there's no point in, because in the end, most of the aspirants will do well in bio. It's evident from the percentile as well. This year, out of 360, I think the highest was 355, and a lot of kids were, even though this year bio was actually hard, the percentile was actually, it was evident that most kids did well in bio. And in fact, the paper is very unpredictable because this year physics was very easy, bio was moderate, and chemistry was the hardest. But last year physics was the hardest and bio was very easy. So you can never predict the paper, and therefore you can never give importance to one subject over the other. So giving all three subjects equal importance will be the best approach that any student can take.
And that is such important advice for all the students who tend to ignore one or two subjects. One of the most common mistakes, one of the most fundamental mistakes made by students in their preparation for NEET or JEE is that they tend to ignore the subject that they are scared of or they do not feel confident in. Understand that is not going to help you. You cannot ignore subjects. You have to give them good importance, and especially the ones where you do not have the confidence. You need to develop that confidence, and you can develop the confidence if you're putting in the effort. If you put in the number of hours, you build that confidence. As you build confidence, you build the interest in the subject also, right? So please do not, absolutely listen to Divyasree. Do not ignore any subject whatsoever, and the ones you do not feel confident in are the ones that you need to spend maximum time on. Great. What are your future plans?
Yes, sir. So I am looking at getting into JIPMER or Madras Medical College for undergrad, and yeah, so that's my plan as of now. So hoping that I'll be getting in through All India quota itself. So just praying for the best.
Fantastic. Wish you all the very best. Are there any other tips that you can share with the student community?
Yes, sir.
Or have we
So
covered everything?
apart from all of this, I think one of the most important things that I would like to say is give give a lot of importance to your 11th as well as your 12th, because most people neglect grade 11, as we already spoke. So even when you're in grade 12, do not think that you've already done your 11th grade, you've given all your exams, so that can sit aside and come when you're in the last 40 days. You have to make sure that you continuously revise 11th religiously throughout your 12th. That's one thing that I want to say, and give a lot of importance to your NCRT textbooks, because on top of everything, that's the thing that actually stands out in the end, because questions ultimately come from NCRT textbook, especially for biology and also for physics and chemistry. So give a lot of importance to your NCRT textbooks, and also solve MCQs religiously, because when you solve questions, that's when you actually come to know where exactly you stand. Just studying things randomly is not going to really make much of a difference. And yeah, so you have to work hard. There's no other shortcut for this. It's just hard work that matters. People say even smart work, but I am someone who strongly believes in hard work, and I think that's one of the most important things. And for parents also, I think this entire journey can be made possible only when a student is self-motivated and self-passionate. It doesn't come, in my case particularly, it was not influenced by my parents or by anybody else. It was something that I myself wanted to do. So I did not, it was my decision and I was responsible for it. And my parents were extraordinarily supportive, and KP, all our teachers, everybody played a very supportive role. But the decision that I want to be a doctor, that I want to join in my dream college, and I want to get into merit was completely my own decision. So I think that if someone actually wants to really crack this, it should come from their heart and not influenced by someone else. So if you're not really interested to actually do it, then parents also should not pressurize their kids. So it should be only when you actually are interested in doing this, you'll be able to succeed. So I think that is another very important thing.
That is a nice thing, but the problem with that is that parents only pressurize when their children are not showing interest in anything. When they decide on one thing and 5 days later they say, "Oh, now I don't want to do this, Mama. Now I want to do something else." And then a month later they say, "Oh, now I'm gotten bored. I want to do something." That's when parents get worried. I also want to send this message to all the students that you got to understand that your parents have your best interests at heart. So if you can demonstrate to your parents, like Divyasree did, that you have genuine self-interest and self-motivation in a certain field, I do not believe any one of your parents would ever stop you from achieving your dreams. And if they do, please give me a call, come and meet me, and I will have a counseling session with your family myself. But at the end of the day, the parents have your best interests at heart, and they're pushing you because they want you to get somewhere and they want you to do well in life. Understand, your parents don't want, they're not going to get anything from your job, your occupation, your career, your success. None of your parents is going to ask you money or anything from you that, oh, now you are earning 5 crores. Now give me 1 crore every year as what I've invested. No, nobody's going to do that. It's your life, and they are doing all of this for your own benefit only, right? So students, understand this, please, and show that discipline and commitment to your parents. It will not stop you from doing anything that you want in your life, right?
Yes, and also one more very important thing is it's again very personal and very debatable also. But I think being focused on one thing rather than many things is a very important thing. People will say no, they would say to keep backups and all a second option. But in my case personally, I did not have any backup or second option. So although it is highly debatable, and some people might even think that I'm being overconfident at this point. But I think when you're completely focused on one particular thing, then automatically, for example, if somebody wants to become a doctor, then just completely give your efforts into NEET. Why do you want to go into JE or your SATs or anything like that? So if you're completely focused on one particular thing, then I think that makes a lot more sense. And even that's in my case, this was a thing. And also another of my classmates, Shweta, she was also in the same track as well. She was also completely focused on just one thing rather than multiple things. So I think that's a very good strategy that can be followed. Again, highly debatable, as I said, because people are always scared that they might not get into what they want. But I think it's worth it when you're completely focused on one thing.
No, of course, focus has a massive advantage if you're giving your 100% to what you're focused on. Or you could do a split. You could say, listen, 90% I'm going to focus on what my number one goal is, but at the same time, there's no harm in keeping one or two options open. So that way, it's okay. The problem is when we have two options or three options in front of us, we decide to spread our time between them, and then we end up doing nothing. That's where having multiple options becomes a problem. So that's where focus helps tremendously to decide what you want to achieve. Even if at the beginning of 11th, I believe you may have a little bit of lack of focus, because, I always say in science team, there are always three kinds of students. One is students who want to become engineers. Two is students who want to become doctors. And three, students who are confused. And the confused is the largest segment. Right? So it's okay if you have taken PCMB and you, for example, you're sort of thinking about both engineering and medical to begin with, but in a few weeks, in a few months' time, as you go along grade 11th, it's very important to sort of start making up your mind, which is going to be a focus area, and then devote yourself to it instead of just, riding, being in two boats at the same time. Okay, I want to come to your parents now. There is so much to learn from your parents, so many things. And, both of your daughters are exceptional, are so bright, are doing so well. They are decorated. They've always been decorated students. Like I said, for those who don't know, Sheikh Hamdan Award is one of the most prestigious awards. Sharjah Excellence Award for Academic Excellence is one of the most prestigious awards in the region. And both the daughters have won these awards multiple times. And you guys must have some magic trick up your sleeve. Please tell us, what is that magic mantra?
Okay. See, I think my Divyasree's mother, she has spent quite a good amount of time focused on that. She has really devoted from the beginning. She tried to groom, because I was in a field job, so I didn't have much time to focus. But wherever I can support and psychologically, just putting the right thought process, that's what I try to do with my kids actually. The entire academic and the shaping the kids is done by my wife actually. That's the real reason behind the success. One of the thing. Kids also, when we showed, okay, why can't you do this, they took an interest. Actually, we never tried to force too much. We try to explain a couple of times. If they are defocusing also, we try to say, okay, just try one more time. And if you see that, sometimes you don't know that whether we have an interest or not interest, but try it for a couple of times. If you really don't like it, come out of it. But if you can do it better. That's the approach we took actually. But honestly, it's in the journey, it's a journey, am I right? It's like a climbing a hill, and there are times it's very tense environment at the home. I'm a guy, I don't want to put pressure, but my wife is a little bit perfectionist, so she always wants everything perfect. So there are always challenging times. There are hot discussions. There are times I say, just leave it, let them come out. But it's a balanced approach. One person has to be very disciplined approach, the other person has to give some kind of a flexibility, but it should not confuse the kids also, right? So we should be very practical in approach and correct them in the wherever we have to give them a right feedback, we have to give the right feedback actually. But it's a tough journey actually. And as Divya told, in fact, we try to not confuse her. Maybe we said, okay, instead of medicine, go for IIT or other things, but she was very, very firm actually, So very simple is the medicine is a long journey, right? So you have to study 10 years. And so once she decided to take a medicine, we said, see, look, this is noble journey, right? So you need to decide when you have a service mindset. This is very, very critical. And you can make a living, but if you want to really make a money, you should look at, doing an engineering and going to US or somewhere. That's the approach we try to explain them.
I'm sure she will. She can write all these exams, be anywhere internationally, and become a very successful doctor. And she'll have hospitals of her own, and maybe a pharmaceutical company of her own. Who knows? And with students with this kind of motivation, you never know. But you said something very nice. You taught them resilience. You never sort of you discourage them from giving up too easily when they were picking up something new, and you explain the pros and cons of it and let them make their own choices after a certain point of time. So that's very important. I have heard so much about your wife from my team that she was such an engaged parent, and I want to hear from her as well. As to, ma'am, you were always involved so closely with Divyasree all through this journey. Please tell us more about this. How did you motivate them, motivate such brilliant children? What is your parenting skill?
I didn't hear the question properly. Can you just repeat, sir?
So we have heard so much about your involvement in Divyasree's journey, and I'm sure your younger daughter's journey as well. How did you motivate them, inspire them for such great achievements? What has been your trick? You must have made a lot of sacrifices as well in this preparation, right? Tell me a little bit about your experience and journey.
Yeah, it's not a sacrifice. I just this is my duty. I want to do it. Whatever I do, I want to do with the perfection. That's it. Plus, Divya is a child who always self-motivated. Even though we said no, she said, no, I want to do it like that. No, even we want to go out. She said, no, I don't want to go out. See, many time I used to call her and told, not even one day she wants to come out of the house. She started crying no, I don't have a time to do it. You are making me to come out and all. That is a motivation for me to do it actually. So if a child, she is in this age, she is ready to sacrifice all these things. Why can't as a parent we can do that actually? Absolutely. Plus my younger one is also very supportive actually, because last year she didn't also go out anywhere, no vacation, nothing. She used to sit with her, sometimes she had a confusion. She used to talk with Arishti and me, it's a balanced family approach actually, basically.
Very important.
I think that is a success actually.
And this is something we always talk to parents about, that at times parents feel that, I am sending my child to KP, my job is done, now your job starts, right? And we always tell them, no, please don't mistake this journey. If you want your child to be truly successful, it's a 3-person journey. It's your child, it's KP, and it's you. We have seen our students who performed the best over the years are the ones where their parents have been deeply involved in the journey. I mean, they may not know how to teach them those subjects, etc., and that is totally fine. That's what we are here for. But keeping them on track, observing them, checking their marks, asking for help when required. Like you were always in touch with us.
Yeah.
You were asking for help, asking questions.
Yeah,
you were saying, do this, do that.
I think most time I used to call her and no, many times, I think he felt very bad, I think, because so many times whenever Divya started crying, I used to immediately pick up the call, say, sir, this is happening. So what I'm going to do now, no, but he's a very good support for me actually. As a parent, how to approach, okay, it's okay, slow down, no. That is one thing.
So how did you end up choosing KP?
Actually, we started in 9th grade, sir, actually, Divya. So then she's not so much interested in the tuition because she has a mindset who is a weak student only will go for the trainings. That is her first approach.
Can you move your camera a little bit down?
Yeah. Fine. So then we told her, then we don't want to pressurize her. Then we just dropped her. 10th also, we just dropped her actually. Then I told her, this is no, if you want to do with the NEET preparation, you must go with something. You cannot do no, at home preparation, self-study and all. As of my observation, no, in all UAE, what are the no institutes are there? Mecca, I know every institute actually, Asantria, everything. See, in my own analysis, I feel KP is the best. No, apart from everything. Then we decided just enroll it actually. I don't have any other next thought. I said, just believe it. We can do our work. Then we just put it actually.
Yeah, we remember that, she was a topper and you guys were doing a lot of research at the time of joining, and I'm glad
Yes.
you chose KP and gave us the opportunity to coach her, and you made the right choice as well. And I hope you've been happy with how KP has worked and put in the efforts to make sure that she shines.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Actually, including all the staff members, like, no, whenever we call, they are ready to support, actually. Even the coordinators, even like, no, branch managers, everybody, whenever I call, they picked up, actually. They never say no. Okay, we will do our best, ma'am. Don't get panic and all, because so many times the marks went down, like, no, we are in a little panic situation, what to do next. So that time, they all are supported, actually, really. Then my husband believes 100% on me, like, you just, okay, do whatever you feel good. Sometimes he will give advice. Like, no, whenever there is a, like, no, problem with me, Divya and all will fight, actually. So then you will involve and you will sort it out. Then again go back. Like, no, this last 6 months was a panic, like, no, situation. 1 week it will be okay, 1 week it will be fight, like that, actually.
And it's all ended well, I'm sure. I mean, this is where, out of pressure cooker situations, is when great results emerge, right? You achieve the sort of things you would never have achieved otherwise, and that's what happens in sort of stressful situations and stuff. And we have to take that as a positive aspect of our journey. If you're going through stress, if you're going through a difficult time, if you're having conflicts, that means we are trying to do something better, and that's what we're trying to achieve in the end, and it shows in the results at the end of the day. Exactly. I'm sure you're super proud today, very happy, very satisfied.
Definitely, sir, actually.
And your younger daughter is coming to us, and we hope to have even better results, equal results,
definitely,
better results for her as well. And with her achievements also, we are so blessed to have her as well. And let's do this going forward for her as well. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your time today.
So it's an amazing journey for us and Divya with the KP, actually. So we have referred a lot of students to KP, actually. Looking at us, I mean, like, we are like a brand ambassador for KP, actually. So wherever we go, we talk about KP. So
thank you very much. We sincerely appreciate that, and it's because of parents like you who, over the years, we get so many referrals from good parents like yourselves who not only take the benefits for their own children, but they also want to benefit other kids, and they happily recommend KP to their friends and family. There's so many coaching centers, Mr. Sureshbabu, here in the region, and students come to KP because of referrals from existing parents who value what we do for them, and then they send their kids to us. And we are really thankful to you for entrusting both your daughters with us, as well as all other parents who send their kids to us for these requirements. And I'm really thankful to everyone, and I'm thankful to Team KP as well, all the teachers, all the staff members, all our admin. They really genuinely go out of their way to support kids, and their only motive is that the child should be able to bring out the best in themselves. So if they're feeling down and out, how do we bring them up? How do we make sure that they're confident, they're learning, and they're doing well? So when students like Divyasree achieve this kind of success, it's a huge validation for all our team members as well. And when somebody like you says thank you, it makes their time and all this effort worthwhile. So thank you very much for your time today and for your kind words and for sharing all your feedback. We wish you all the very best, and we hope to meet you soon in person.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the support, and to all the KP teachers and KP support staff, actually.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Divyasree.
Bye, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.